Hey, Nelson, alcoholic addict. That is not my real name. That's my pen name that I use here at LOL Sober. I went to Disney World with my family last week, and before I left, I made sure to get to meetings every day. I think 5 straight days I got to a meeting. I really wanted to top off the sobriety tank. I really thought I was going to need it. And I did, because if I'm being rigorously honest, which this program asks us to do, I had very mixed feelings about the trip. On one hand, I was overjoyed to be able to take my wife and kids there. They were excited. The hype leading up to the trip was incredible. Everybody was so amped up, and I just kept thinking about how there's no way this is happening if I'm still drinking and drugging. And actually, there's no way this is happening if I just stopped drinking and drugging and didn't change my whole life around the drinking and drugging. So that part of the trip was awesome. Such gratitude. But I also felt some dread about the trip. I was dreading it on some level. We hadn't gotten on an airplane and gone on a big trip in 5 years as a family. And I have 3 kids at such different ages that they just usually end up screaming at each other on a trip to the mall, let alone 1,500 miles away. So I kept picturing all the bickering and the heat and the long lines, the physical pain I was going to feel, all the big dinner bills. And there are some big ass dinner bills. Oh my God, they kill you down there. So I thought about all that, and I almost started to lose my patience and drain out every ounce of my spirituality, and we hadn't even gotten on a plane yet. But luckily, on Sunday afternoon, the evening before we flew out, I got to a meeting, and I put it out there in a group of about 20 sober men, put everything out there. And holy crap, does that help? It doesn't seem like it would help, just sort of like saying it out loud, but it does. Even now with quite a bit of recovery under my belt, I forget the power of naming your problem to somebody else and asking for help. And I did. I said, hey, everybody, pray for me. I meant it. I'm not joking. Like, hey, think of me, okay? Like, throw a few thoughts my way. And it helped. It really did. In this case, the help that I got was a string of text messages the following day and a couple days after that, all from guys saying stuff like, hey, have a great trip. You got this. You are really freaking sober right now. You're going to be fine. And man, I got to tell you, they were right. The trip was fantastic. Everything I thought could pop up, it did actually pop up. It was so hot and my feet hurt all the time and the kids were bickering a lot. But I was able to navigate it. We had an absolute blast. Seeing my kids' faces as they got to do all of these things they've been dreaming of for years, honestly, it's right up there with any accomplishment that I've ever had in my life. It really is. When I got sober, it was ultimately for stuff like this. I have stayed sober because I want to be sober. I found for me personally that it's very important that I'm sober because I want to be sober, not because my boss or my friend or my wife or anybody else wants me to be. It's that I want to be sober. But I went to rehab because I thought I was going to die and I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I wanted to give my wife and kids the best life possible. I wanted to be able to take them to Disney and New York City and put them through college and whatever else they might dream of. I wanted to be that kind of parent. And for 6 days last week, we did it. One thing that hit me a little bit is that I found out I was doing a little better than I thought I was. And working a strong recovery program requires constantly pushing yourself, working through resentments, figuring out who you need to make amends to, calling out your character defects, all of that stuff. And it can get a little heavy. It can feel like relentless self-improvement. And I often end up thinking, damn, shouldn't I be further along than this? Man, it's like, how am I still resentful and gossiping and argumentative and impatient and on and on and on? I come up with a list almost every day of all of the things I suck at. What I found out on this trip was I'm doing just fine. And I would say I realized I'm doing better than I thought. And it wouldn't surprise me if you're reading this or listening to this and nodding along. You might be doing better than you feel also. You really might be. So my suggestion to you would be, why don't you test it out? Grab a couple of kids, maybe go to the mall, grab a couple of kids, take them to Disney for a week, see what happens. All right, don't do that. I'm just kidding. It's illegal. Thank you so much for letting me share. Have a great day.